Today on TOKKANTE we're doing another installment in our series, Does It Really Matter? So last time we looked at accuracy, and you can go watch that video here. This time I'd like to look at brand heritage. Does that even really matter to you when buying a new watch? So we'll look at brand heritage, what that means, and brand reputation and brand history. Then we'll look into products and then whether this is actually becoming more of a marketing argument once again that I think is concealing another issue that's plaguing the watch industry. Hi everyone, I'm Ben. So, with vintage reissues being so ever popular these days, we see a lot of watch brands who like to brag about their brand heritage. So now, what do we mean about brand heritage? So this is not a branding masterclass, but we can define it overall as a combination of their brand history and their DNA and all the symbolism and codes that they use and their values, which over time, define what their brands stand for and the idea of luxury and being special. So when I think about, brand heritage, I think about brands like Hermès, or Vacheron Constantin, or Patek Philippe, or even Rolex even. Now we're not going to look at the codes or the values or what constitute a brand DNA, but let's take the brand history for example. So history is one of the components that constitute brand reputation. So brand reputation is basically the ability to produce a quality product over a certain period of time that people keep coming back for more and keep buying. So that basically implies trust, that implies quality products. So if you think of Cartier, for example, established in 1846, the company is still going strong today. So that implies that this is a company that, based on its history, makes quality products. So how long do you need to have brand history in order to basically brag about it? Is it 10 years? Is it 20 years? So maybe that's not enough. Is it 50? Is it 100 years? So I think maybe after 100 years, brand like Rolex, or obviously Vacheron or Breguet or all the other ones, are entitled to talk about their brand history. However, I think maybe there's an over-reliance on the brand history, and we're kind of forgetting the other component of the brand reputation, which is the products themselves. So now, if we look at the products aspect of the equation, some watch brands manufacture really high quality products without the backing of brand history or the reliance on brand heritage, especially if we look at independence. So for example, I'm thinking of a brand like Recens from Belgium, coming up with really innovative take on watchmaking with oil-filled dials, etc. Even if some of their models are based on ETA 2824, for example, or another brands like Grunewald from the Netherlands, with really high level of craftsmanship and finishing on their movement, or a brand like Russia, like Konstantin Shaikin, with really creative models like the Joker, for example, that I'm sure you've seen. So really high level of quality products there with the independence. But does that mean they are less special because they don't have any brand heritage? Or does that mean that they are less valuable because their product haven't stood the test of time yet? Or does that mean that there's less trust in what they're putting out because they are only 10 or 20 or 30 years old? So it seems to me like watch brands nowadays are placing an over-reliance on brand heritage or brand history. Especially the ones that actually have some brand heritage. With what's going on right now with the fad of neo-vintage re-edition, it seems like for some brands it's even becoming their #1 marketing tools. To the point that even some younger brands that don't have brand heritage are manufacturing it to kind of copycat the ones that do. So I'm thinking of brands like maybe Bell & Ross or Bremont, or even Ralph Lauren was guilty of that in fashion and watchmaking. They kind of create this fake brand history when you go to their stores and you look at their website, making you think that they do have a history that's longer than what it actually is. So, why do they do that? Well, they do that because a good story sells. It's a very good marketing trick. I'm a sucker for a good story myself, so I'm guilty as charged. I mean, take the Moonwatch for example, but at least that's a real story. But I think that where am I going with this is that I think even if brands actually have brand heritage, it should not overtake or overshadow what I think is more important is innovation. Innovation in watchmaking. So for example, let's take the case of Abraham Louis Breguet, who in his time was seen as a genius and an innovator. So yes, he invented the tourbillon, also the Breguet overcoil. He was also a pioneer in creating the Breguet numerals, what we now call the Breguet numerals, but at the time, it was just new numerals. The guilloche, or even the mystery signature against counterfeiting at his time, or even kind of invented the perpetual automatic movement. Rolex, it's not Rolex, Rolex made it mainstream, but Breguet actually, well, he kind of took the concept from someone else and he released it in a series of watches that were not that commercial success, but he did it in his time. So I think the brand heritage of Breguet, for example, is to be an innovative brand. And they're still doing that to these days, and they have created, for example, the 10 Hertz escapement, etc., etc. So what I'm saying is that brands that have brand heritage should not, they can mention it, but they should not rely on it, and they should keep innovating. And brands, younger brands that do not have brand heritage should rely on innovation. And by being innovative and coming up with products that we remember, this is how they will create their own history, and then 100 years from now, they can brag about their brand heritage. So does that make sense? So just like the first one on accuracy, this is just my opinion, this is what I think, but let me know in the comments what you think. Let's start the conversation. As usual, ask yourself what makes you tick. Thanks for watching this video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.